Year 3, this is lesson number 3 on Matisse. So in our last lesson we looked at Matisse's paintings and we had a go painting in the style of Fauvism, which is the new style of painting that really he invented. Today we're going to look at his collages, or what we call Matisse's cutouts. So, do you remember why Matisse started creating collages instead of painting? Could you discuss that with somebody that you're with, please? Pause this video. So, if you remember, Matisse started doing collages instead of painting because he had had an operation. He was very ill. He couldn't move very well. So he could no longer stand, really, without much help. And he found it difficult to move around. So that meant it was really hard for him to paint because he needed to be very mobile to do his paintings. He sometimes still did paintings on long sticks, but mostly he created these collages because he could stay sitting in his chair and he could use his scissors to cut out interesting shapes from huge pieces of paper. Then he could tell his assistant how he wanted these shapes arranged. So his assistant would lay out all of the different shapes that Matisse had cut in different ways, and Matisse would be able to look at what his assistant had done and say, I want that shape moved over here, or I want that shape moved over to here. And that's how Matisse was still able to create art, even though he couldn't really move. He was very unwell. I'd like you to watch a video, please. This video just shows you some more of Matisse's cutout works, and it explains why they are so important. So here we go. On YouTube, if you type into the YouTube search bar Matisse Art Fund, then the video will come up. It is titled Henri Matisse, The Cutouts. And it's a video of a lady speaking in an art gallery. She's explaining what is so unusual and important about these pieces of work. So if you could please watch that and then come back to this video. Okay, welcome back. So I'd like you to have a go making your own collage inspired by Matisse's work. Have a look carefully at the shapes that Matisse uses. Sometimes his work looks like it looks like there are figures in his art. There are shapes that maybe look like a human body dancing, but sometimes his work is completely abstract. That means it doesn't really look like anything. It just looks it's just beautiful. It just looks really interesting. It's the color and the shape creates art, but the art doesn't look like anything. That's what we call abstract art. There are some swirls. There are some swirly lines that look a bit like swirly leaves or something. There are lines that are spiky that look like they might be explosions. There are blocks, just rectangles. There are squares, triangles. Look carefully at all the different shapes that Matisse has used. He uses a real range of shapes in each of his artworks, and that makes them really interesting. Also, these shapes are very unusual. They're not just shapes that you normally see in the world. So when you are thinking about what shapes to use in your collage, make sure you use some of these interesting shapes. So what you need to do to make your collage is gather together different coloured pieces of paper. Now, if you don't have different coloured pieces of paper, you can create coloured paper by painting it or colouring it in, okay? So you could paint some white paper, paint it red, leave it to dry, then you've got some red paper, haven't you? Now, you might notice if you look carefully, Matisse doesn't have too many different colours in one artwork, except for this one in the middle, which is of a sort of person dancing. Most of these artworks have a maximum of 4 colours. So don't go too crazy, don't use too many different colours. 4 is probably the maximum that you want. Once you've got your colours, start cutting. Now, Matisse didn't draw out his shapes first, he just went for it with the scissors. Why don't you do the same? Just see what happens. See what different shapes you can make. I cut out a wide range of shapes from all of your different colours. And then, once you've finished with them, you can lay them out on a piece of paper and fiddle around with them. So move around your shapes until you find something that you like the look of. Try out lots of different ways of arranging these shapes on your piece of paper. Don't just stick them on the paper the first thing that you do. Make sure you try out lots of different ways. That's how Matisse created his work. And once you're happy with the way that you've arranged your shapes, then you can glue them down. Now think about what we talked about in our last lesson about cool colours and warm colours still applies here to these cutouts. So have a look at the artworks I've included on this slide. Most of them have some contrast of cool and warm colours. We've got the blue and the red, the sort of pink and the green, the blue and the yellow. The only one we don't have a contrast for is this one where it's only green and white. Okay, year 3, so just have some fun with this. I'm really looking forward to seeing your collages. Please do get them up on Tapestry. If you'd like to, type in Matisse cutouts or Matisse collage to Google and have a look at Google Image to get some more inspiration for your own artwork. Then, once you've finished, not only could you please send it to Tapestry, you could submit your artwork to the Tate Modern Kids Gallery. So if you look here at this website, children can send in their artwork to the Tate Modern Gallery and they will post it on their website for you. And you'll have to talk to the adults that you live with about doing that for you, okay? But this is the link here. So you just go to the Tate website, kids/kids/gallery. Okay, year 3, look forward to seeing some of this fantastic art.